you're going to realize the third track that we've heard, well, officially. Actually, I haven't listened to any other tracks. Like, I haven't hunted it down online to try to find leaks, or I didn't even watch the live versions of the songs. I didn't want to know. I didn't want to know what they sounded like. So I resisted the temptation to hear the live stuff. I think this song is great. It's like right away, I was like, okay, here we go. You know, I love the orchestration in it, and it sounds real. I'm not thinking that Monty couldn't do that. I'm sure he could do something that would sound good, but it sounds real, you know. It probably is real, because I think they used some on the last Visconti full-length album. But yeah, this is really good. This is really good. I like the first two tracks that we've had, but they didn't like knock me out. You know, it was like one of those things where it's like, maybe they'll be a grower, you know. But this one is really good. It's short. I think it's only like 3 minutes. But yeah, it reminds me a little bit of like the mid 80s, like the Phantasmagoria era stuff. Kinda. Not really. It seems like whenever something new comes out by someone, the first thing I do is try to compare it to, like, I don't know why I do that. Like, yeah, it kind of sounds like this and that. But I read a review where they were saying this album sounds closer to the Strawberries Black Album, Phantasmagoria kind of 80s sound. And that's good, because I like those albums. But I mean, it's gonna have elements of that, yeah. But these guys always freak me out. The garbage guys. I never know where they're going, and they drive like maniacs. But yeah, I dig it. I saw the video too. It's good. I like the Invisible Man look that Data is going now. He really looked like the Invisible Man. In 1994, they did a BBC show called The 70s, and there was one episode about punk rock, and they had Glenn Matlock on, unfortunately Jonathan King, and a few other people. I can't remember exactly who it was, and the Damned played, but it was the really weird Not of This Earth 90s lineup. And Dave just, he didn't speak the whole time. Rat did all the talking. And Dave wore the, like an Invisible Man-esque type of costume. Completely covered his face. He kept it on the entire time, even during the performance. I think he was upset because he had a lot of problems during that time with how things were being run. And he wasn't 100% into that whole project. And I did a video about it. The Not of This Earth era stuff. It was a weird time. But yeah, that was the Invisible Man. This is more like just kind of Dave meets the Invisible Man. But it looks good, sounds good. I'm really psyched about hearing the rest of it. I guess when they played recently, I don't know if they're doing this at every gig, maybe they are, but they do like almost the whole album. Like, I don't know if it's in a row, but they do 9 tracks in one shot. So that's kind of cool. It's kind of ballsy too. Usually that's kind of a hard thing to put over with an audience. But I was reading a review about the show, and they said that yeah, everybody seemed into it, which is good. The thing I like about them is, you know, they've never done like the sort of, what is it called? I don't know the name for it, but like the hits type of thing. They always kind of put some sort of spin on it, whether it's you know, playing the first 2 albums like they did recently. Well, not the first 2. I think they've had tours for like Machine Gun Etiquette one, and one where they did the Black Album. And yeah, you'll never see like the fairground set, like where they just play, you know, the 8 hits in a row. They usually try to do different stuff. Of course, the Night of 1,000 Vampires show, you know, they remain creative. And we don't get a lot of albums from them. Like, this will just be the 4th one in this century. And I posted about that new song, and I said that this is the best song from this century, because I think it is. And it's new, you know, I've only heard it a handful of times, but it's just it connected as a damn track, like, way better than I think anything else. You know, and there's only 3 other albums to compare it to. And I wanted to get to all of them before Docadelic comes out this week. I've been doing a series on them. I have a playlist in there about Countdown Docadelic. But I don't know if I'm going to get to all the rest of them before, next, is it next Friday? Oh, maybe after. At any rate, the 3 albums they did in this century, Grave Disorder in 2001, which I think is probably the best one out of the 3. And then you had So Who's Paranoid, that was 2008. And that's alright. I said before, like, that seems more like a Captain kind of solo album. And I don't think Dave really wrote anything for that one. But that was pretty good. And it's probably the 3rd down the list. The last one they did, the Visconti one, and what was, like, 2018? I don't know. I don't know about that. I think it could be around there. And then they had the EP, which, you know, I don't count as an album, but that was good too. The Visconti one, it got some criticism for being kind of too slick, but I don't know. I think a lot of it was kind of slow, though. They have a lot of slower tracks on there. I don't know. I haven't listened to it in a while, but out of the 3 of this century, Grave Disorder is the best one. There's not a lot to say about these 3 most recent albums that came before this new one, which will be the 4th in this century. Because, yeah, they just basically put them out and toured. There was a few lineup changes, but it wasn't anything substantial. On Grave Disorder, of course, they had Patricia Morrison on bass, Dave's wife. She's on that album. She toured with them and was touring around that time with them. And I think they only had a few other switches. Gary Dreadful was playing drums, and he was replaced by Pinch, who was with them up until a couple years ago. So it's been pretty stable, you know, their lineups, and they've just been, like, touring, you know. And so there's not a lot to really talk about when it comes to this. I mean, I know the So Who's Paranoid was crowdfunded. I remember, I think it was it on Pledge Music? It was something like that. And then the first album, that Grave Disorder from 2001, that was on the Nitro label. That's Dexter Holland's of The Offspring, his company. I had a friend friends that were on that label. I don't think it lasted too long. It was a subsidiary, of course, of something else, but I remember they signed a couple good bands at that time of old school, older school bands that were picked up by him, which is kind of cool, you know. And I think that one's the best one. It has probably the stuff that worked the best. And stuff still gets played from that. They still do Absinthe sometimes. They did it on the Night of 1,000 Vampires thing. Yeah, they're all worth checking out. They're not... Well, I don't know. How do those 3 compare to the other ones? I mean, they're probably better than... All 3 of them are better than Music for Pleasure. Well, it's hard to say. I don't know. I've never thought about this. Probably should have thought about it first. But anyway, I didn't plan to even go into those 3. But this new one... It's great. Dave sounds great, like he always does. And it has, like, that sort of dramatic kind of pseudo-goth type of thing going on. Yeah, it does have, like, a Strawberries, Phantasmagoria type feel. It's the first one of the 3 that just made me go, like, wow, that's really good. And the other 2 have grown on me since. I think I did reviews for each of the other 2. In fact, I know I did. And And I kind of both gave them the same kind of, review. They're good, but they weren't knocking me out. And maybe in time they'll grow on me. But Invisible Man definitely has. That riff is great. That opening, yeah, that whole thing. Yeah. So next Friday. Next Friday the whole thing will be out. So that's good because it's kind of an event for me because they don't, like I said, they don't put stuff out a lot. Excuse me. Yeah, that's really it. It's good. That's my insightful review. That's good. First two were good. No, I'd say this song's great. I put this in the great column. It's not just good. It doesn't need to grow on me. It's great, and yeah.
Morning.
How you doing?
Happy Sunday.
Thank you. You too. Yeah, it makes me. It reminds me, like I said, of that sort of goth period. That's a pretty cop. That's a pretty cop lady. I've said it before about the cops here, like every time I've had interactions with them, they're super nice. They're just, they're understaffed. They don't really get to spread out too much. Take a long time to get to you. I guess that's kind of happening everywhere though. Like all over the country, the police departments are like that. I guess. Everyone's feeling that kind of thing. As it gets crazier, as it spins more and more out of control. It's not out of control though. It just looks out of control. It's not though. And it's not, people look at it like, things are getting worse, things are getting crazier. But the craziness and the look of things getting worse on the surface, which, it is in some respects, yeah. But it's not from a place of strength. Evil's, it's from a place of weakness. Evil's on its heels. It's, the beast system is falling apart. And as it goes down, it just wants to take a bunch of people with it. It's desperation. It's desperation. It's lashing out. And then it's going to be gone. So good for us, good for everybody. But yeah, damn, you're going to realize. Great. Don't blame the teacher. Blame the school.